This is Bobby Kraft coming to you live on SNNLive. I'm here at the Toronto Resource Investment Conference 2013. With me is Benjamin Cox from Aston Bay Holdings, symbol BAY on the TSX Venture. Benjamin, welcome to SNNLive.
Thank you. How are you doing?
I'm doing well. How about yourself?
I'm having fun.
Oh, good. I mean, your booth has been very busy this entire day.
Well, it helps to have chocolate and candy and all the good stuff to let people come by. Also, pretty rocks. People really like pretty rocks. Pretty rocks help really sell things. So between chocolate and pretty rocks, we're doing pretty good.
And maybe something about the story of Aston Bay too. Do you mind telling that to us?
Aston Bay is a super high-grade copper project sitting in Nunavut. We've got an average assay of I think 1.8%. Our best hole, which we released last week, was roughly, I think, 2.45% copper over 110 meters. 4 to 5 distinct different ore bodies, but on the whole, all starting at surface. There's probably some more stuff at depth. But on the whole, it's a really nice looking project with really great grades. So we're having a lot of fun putting it together. We took the company public in May, and we're currently cleaning up and making the stock look, making the company work, getting the IR out there, and making everything work very nicely. So that's where we stand.
So where are the properties located?
Nunavut, Canada, which is north of Canada, 20 kilometers from Tidewater, near the old Polaris mine.
So Polaris mine. So can you tell me a little bit more about the from a historical perspective about this area?
From a historical perspective, this project was drilled in the 90s. There's about 14,000 meters drilled on it, between two sets of ore bodies, the zinc and the copper ore bodies, which are both distinct. And it was pretty much left on care and maintenance for 10 years until we picked it up. So and we picked it up through a joint venture with a company called Commander Resources. So we're very happy with it. It's got a lot of historical work done to it. Market conditions currently are rough, so it's reducing our ability to raise capital. But with what the little capital we have a substantial amount of data from tech metals that we bought that we're currently in the process of cleaning up. And with that, we're going to have a fairly good news flow for the year.
So what about the infrastructure in Nunavut? How's that?
Nunavut is known for not having infrastructure, but the advantage of being 20 kilometers from Tidewater is you don't need a lot of it. The other advantage of 1.8% average copper grade is we have a copper grade that's roughly 6 times most of the junior mining companies out there. That means we need a mill that's a sixth the size, a power plant that's a sixth the size, and we fundamentally can operate with slightly higher cost infrastructure.
High grade, that is a key point right there. Explain why high grade is more important. Expand a little bit on what you just said.
Because you need a smaller mill, you strip less. So if you need to pull 100 tons of rock out to get a ton of copper at 1% copper, and you need to pull 300 tons of rock out to get a ton of copper at 0.3% copper, one mine is a much smaller mining operation and, more importantly, a much smaller stripping operation. So when you include a stripping ratio of 2 to 1 in there, you suddenly go to 600 tons versus 200 tons, and the amount of rock you move goes down, the amount of energy you use goes down, the amount of reactants you use go down, everything gets much simpler. So the goal in mining is to find the highest grade ore body that contains significant metal and to use that. And that's what we look for.
And why base metals? What's in it with copper?
People fundamentally need their cell phones. This entire conference would not happen without copper. I'm being interviewed on a system made of copper, and the reality is the Asian world has now starting to build out Western quality infrastructure, and that requires lots of copper. So copper is something we need. And with the average mine grade going down from 0.7 in 95 to about 0.48 in 2010 and going even lower now, we're fundamentally running out of it. So it's one of the few metals that we're running out of that we need a lot of.
And what's your background?
I'm a finance geek.
Finance geek, that's it?
Yeah. Worked at D.E. Shaw last, small hedge fund in New York. Before that, ran some juniors, but basically I'm a finance geek.
And you came out of, I know you had another venture that you did prior to this as well with, I believe it's called Ordnung.
Well, I still have Ordnung. So Ordnung is our merchant bank, and we use that to help find assets. So we basically use finance geek skills to find assets, including Aston Bay. We work on restructuring those assets and making them viable, and then we go on and do it again. That's our basic business model.
So where can my audience go and find more information about Aston Bay or Ordnung?
Well, Aston Bay is astonbayholdings.com, and Ordnung is oreninc.com, ORENINC.com. I don't need to spell it Aston Bay because everyone knows how to spell the car.
So what can our investor audience look forward to from Aston Bay for the coming year, finishing up with 2013 and looking forward to 2014?
We have a substantial amount of old technical data that we're reprocessing and re-releasing. We're going to be working on seeing what other deals we can get done, and we're basically working on an interesting year. I think it'll be a fascinating year, but the reality is market conditions means that we're going to be very frugal and figure out what we can do on a nickel that accomplishes a dime's worth of work. And that's basically going to be our goal for the year. We'll see what we can get done.
And I wish you the best of luck. I hope you do.
Thank you, and I hope you have a wonderful year.
All right. This has been Bobby Kraft coming to you live on SNN Live at the Toronto Resource Investment Conference 2013. With me again is Benjamin Cox of Aston Bay Holdings, symbol BAY on the TSX Venture. Benjamin, thank you again for coming on SNN Live.
Thank you.